right, I call the March 20th, 2024 meeting for the Justice and Public Safety Committee meeting to order. And the first line of business is to discuss regarding towing and record protocol services for the Sheriff Department.
All right. Hey, thank y'all for having us here. Our goal is just to establish a written guideline and ordinance that would allow us to, I guess, enforce certain actions and also hold us accountable for our record policies. This would be a new ordinance, and basically what it'll do is just cover things like certain parts of it cover fees. It'll put out black and white what our expectations are and what the record service expectations are of us. One example is like it requires all record companies that are on our rotation to have an impound lot, which some do not. So, but if they want to be on rotation, that's just one of the things that they have to sign up for. And this gives it kind of to them in black and white of, we can hand this ordinance to them and say, okay, you want to be on rotation, this is our expectations, and kind of gives us some teeth to hold if we need to take somebody off rotation as well. That's the nuts and bolts of it, but basic guidelines. We answer any questions. This is the guy, Sergeant Mosley here is county ordinance guy. Put a lot of work in this and a bunch of other ordinances as well.
But as far as their money and everything, though, you think it's pretty well equal and close to?
So, they're at I think we're 270 now, what Highway Patrol is. The city of Rock Hill, on their rotation, they're at 150. The city of York depends on whether it's a wreck or a different kind of tow. So there's no real standard. We just typically follow what the Highway Patrol does.
Okay.
So they're 270 now. I understand, diesel costs and insurance, and some of those records are $1 million. Just talking with the record drivers for the big Class C records, I understand all that. We have to look out for them, but on the other hand, we have to look out for the citizens. If you're a victim of a crime and you recover your stolen car, you still have to pay $270 to get your car back.
Right.
Which, you've been a victim of a crime, of your car theft, now you gotta pay to get it back. I see an issue there, but if you're doing something wrong, you're driving drunk, get arrested, whatever, you get arrested, that's on you.
Yeah. Nobody ever said life's fair.
Yeah, that's right. So we just needed something in black and white, like the captain said, to establish a protocol for the sheriff's office. We follow what the Highway Patrol does now, but we don't really have any teeth in it if there is some kind of record issue. And I've got a couple complaints over some behavior. One of the record drivers got real ill with one of our deputies over just a misunderstanding and used all kind of foul language and stuff. We have ones that are refusing to show up for various different reasons, and as it stands now, we don't really have any way to deal with that. And if we need you on rotation, we need you on rotation. We can't just have you pick and choose when you want to come.
So this would give y'all some structure.
Yes. Gives us structure, gives us something to guide by, gives them a guide. I've implemented in there if there's a complaint, the complaint protocol, the file, if they have a grievance or something, how to deal with all that. There's a fee schedule in there. That's just a basic one that I came up with. The wording in there is the fees will be set by council with input from the sheriff, which is fair, right? And that's where we're at with the fees, the money aspect of it. The rest of it is just requirements that we require, the same thing the Highway Patrol requires. The insurance requirements, is what the Highway Patrol requires. And then our expectations, expects you to answer your phone, expects you to be able to come out, unless you have a legitimate reason why you can't come. Truck's down, you're sick, something like that. Exigent circumstance. But other than that, it's just kind of the stipulations for us, stipulations for them.
Yeah. But y'all still jump calls if you can't get the first on rotation go.
If the first one can't come for whatever reason, we'll just go to the next one on the list, and they're just, in a list in dispatch, we don't see them. They're, just however they pop up in dispatch. There's no preferential treatment for anybody. They just, one after the other. If one can't come, they call the next one.
Yeah,
Got a question?
well, I'm just trying to get up to speed.
Tommy, you mentioned the cost, and I did read in there that you'll periodically review the charges and make a recommendation to council if it needs to be changed. So if the highway patrol goes up on theirs, or if inflation or whatever, you feel there's a need to change it, we can modify that and move the cost upward.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we noticed too is there seems to be a different set of charges. If you're on rotation, what do you say, 270 now?
Yeah, it's 270 now.
So the person's car vehicle being towed will have to pay that fee of 270. If your car breaks down on the side of the road tonight and you call on your own request, it's much less. Sometimes it's 150. So, you know, there is a big discrepancy in prices there, you know. But I mean, I think the fee we have set in here is fair, and it breaks it. If you have something large, like a larger vehicle, of course they charge more. You know, we understand that. If there's
And another reason though that happens also is the time lapse in the amount of time that, you know, they get their money. That's, would you bring her up to speed exactly what we?
I'm thinking, I'm good. So is what you're saying, these fees right now, is that an increase over what you had in the past?
This right here is just some numbers that I came up with based on what Rock Hill had, what the city of York has, and what Highway Patrol has. It's actually a little bit lower than what the current rate is. The current rate is 270, and these were just something that's a little bit less than that 270, but more than what Rock Hill and the city of York were charging.
Okay.
But we don't have a previous agreement, so we have nothing to go on. So this is pretty much starting it.
Yeah, this establishes this process. We don't have such a process now.
Oh,
Currently, what we
But it
do.
is consistent with what other cities and counties do.
Rock Hill City has an ordinance in place, so does Fort Mill, York, I don't know if York does, but of course Highway Patrol, you know, so they have policy and rules to go by, you know, we just need that as well.
Basically, it used to be that if you got in the record business, whatnot, you'd contact the county and you'd lobby to get put on rotation. It's separate from saying you call the record,
Right.
if there's an accident or stolen
Yeah.
vehicles
yeah.
and nobody's claiming nothing.
Yeah. We have approximately 30 on rotation now, give or take a couple. And if you look back, we did a lot of work and research in this. We got one record service that has missed like 25 calls, you know.
wow.
So it's just kind of, you know, we can't take them off rotation because we don't have anything to fall back on, you know.
And this would help that?
In a year time frame.
Mm-hmm. So this sets out the
Keep
protocols
some-
that you
Yeah.
have to be able to you have to be able to come out unless you have some exigent
And
circumstance
that's
why
all
you
this,
can't.
this paperwork.
That's
Yeah.
in the record regulations.
Okay, okay.
All of that's in there, all 12 or 13 pages of it.
Okay,
It spells out everything.
I trust you.
Well, anything in here on as far as impoundment from what, none of that's gonna change though, as far as days impounded, like if somebody, you know, how long they have to wait before they can get rid of a car if nobody.
Oh, that's set by state law.
That's
Yeah,
what
this
I'm
does not
thinking.
trump state
Yeah, this
So,
statutes.
so y'all ain't
No,
gonna
we're not.
handle any of that.
The impoundment thing is gonna stay the same, you know,
Okay.
and the storage fee is, I think it's $35 or $36 a day now. The county, if the council wants to set that fee, fine. But as far as all that to get rid of the cars and that process, that's state law, that's not gonna
Okay,
change at
yeah,
all.
so
We're not touching that at all.
All right.
Okay, I'm good. So do we,
You can make recommendations.
Make-
May I ask a question?
yes, well,
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have a list of events that trigger the use of the record service, we'll need like an ordinance authorizing the implementation of this policy. And what is the basis for using the record service? I'm looking at the first page, for instance, it just immediately starts out about interest in a record service, and then goes to the record services qualifications. But where is it set out? What are the areas in which you will utilize the record service? I heard disabled cars, wrecks require towing, but what's the extent of that?
So I can give it to you, but I can type up something too.
Sure.
Verbally, it's if we arrest somebody and they're the driver of the car, our policy is to either get somebody to get the car or to use their preferential record. If they don't have one, we will use a rotation record for that. Some arrests require the car to be towed. DUI fourth and subsequent offense require a seizure of the vehicle in a tow. If there's an abandoned car we can't find, if it's broken down the middle of the road or something in the roadway, we can't find an owner after a diligent search, we'll call a rotation record for that. It's impeding traffic, not just off to the side of the road, but something impeding traffic.
So you have your own policies and statutes, obviously, that trigger when you have to use it, that mandate the use of it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to have a sense
This is
of
within
that.
the sheriff's office policy.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, Tom.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Do we,
So
you can make a
so
motion
you
for
said not a
recommendation.
motion. It's not a motion, it's a
Yeah.
recommendation?
You would need a motion to
No, I think-
recommend.
Yes, to recommend the whole council the authorization to study and implement the requests of
Okay.
the sheriff's
So,
department.
I make a motion that, we recommend to council this, information from the sheriff's office, the regulations.
Second.
All in favor?
Second.
Okay, you said.
All in
that.
favor?
Okay.
Two of us.
I practiced this at home
Thank
with my
you.
husband. I said, this is what Tommy's gonna say in this one.
All right, the next is to approve the minutes for January 24, 2024, committee meeting.
Okay. Move that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Tommy?
In favor?
Aye.
Okay, executive session. We got executive session.
Okay, so.
We got ball game.
May I ask a
now.
question now? On this, the discharging of firearms?
So-
Our plan is we wanted to pass that out to kind of like, we didn't know the process of tonight, basically. So if you want to take those home with you, look at it, and I don't know if we have to have this meeting again those are just changes to current policies or ordinances that we have. And as you read through them, you'll see why. I mean, county's growing, population's growing. Some of these ordinances, like the firearms and noise, it's been around 25, 30 years. Things like decibel readers, they're not calibrated. We don't have the tool to, I guess, use a decibel reader when it talks about that noise ordinance. And it's just, with so much population growing, the ordinance really doesn't fit us anymore. So we just need to revamp it, that's all.
Happy to look at those.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
So there's three different things in
Yes,
there.
ma'am. I'll look at that.
The updated ones, the current ordinances for the ones that I changed, and then the record
Thank you.
policy. Yeah. And all my changes are in blue and
Very good.
all that.
I only got one thing to say.
I anxiously await to see.
Remember the egg shortage?
Because we have new state.
Because you wouldn't believe the people complaining about
That-
hearing chickens when they could go to their neighbor and calm down things and say, they might need eggs one day. Believe me, having hundreds of chickens, I have to put,
Yep.
but they're gonna make racket. That's it.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank y'all.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. I approve.
I didn't know it had to be so formal since